Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans. Welcome to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Fall 2020 League Tournament. This is Week 4, Game 1, and we are in the last week before you hit playoffs. My name is Jad. I'm joined in the booth by Groggy Dog. How you doing tonight, Groggy?
I'm doing great, Jad. Thanks for asking. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. I am pretty excited to see get our first taste here of Chaos Rush. So this is the first. Yeah, this is the first game of this week. So we haven't seen this yet live on stream, and we will be sharing with you a little bit about what's going on. So, Groggy Dog, what makes Chaos Rush unique?
I mean, all of it. We were just talking about it behind the scenes. Normally in this game you need 4 lit orbs, key, and a loot to go take on the fiends and beat Chaos. You need none of that this time. We have gotten rid of everything. You don't need a single thing to go take on Chaos, and all of that is gone too in the Temple of Fiends. It's just one room. You're going to have to take on 2 fiends, your choice, plus taking on an alternate final boss, and we don't know for each seed. We're going to find out. And that's the real fun. These flags are so short, coming in about 20 to 30 minutes each. We're doing 3 of them. That's right, each one of our runners has 3 seeds to get through tonight. We're going to do the first one. They will take a mandatory 1-minute break. Do the second seed, one more 1-minute break, and then the third seed. We're going to be clocking in somewhere between an hour and a half probably with these runners. We've got some really talented runners on stream tonight. It is all about maximizing efficiency and sacrificing as much as possible while still beating Chaos in his runs.
I mean, you say we're going to be done, 20 to 30 minutes, but this initial comp is quite something. So something that we haven't mentioned is the fact that we have forced party comps here, and right now we have an ugly one to start. Double black belt white mage. Now, of course, if Fade's level 1, this is not going to be a big issue, but if we have no offensive magic, it could be a little bit of a slog to get started. Now, that all being said, experience is excellent. 5.0 plus 100, so lots of extra EXP, especially on the higher EXP party packs in the vanilla game. And with that, we're off. Let's cross our fingers for the white magic. Black magic shops no longer matter. Quickly going through our runners here. From in the top left, we have Cheeseinator of Team Cheese Fries. They are currently in 5th place in the standings, and only the top 4 teams make it into the playoffs, so he is fighting hard for a spot in the playoffs. In the top right, my teammate DVS in 4th place with the Quackening. In the bottom left, we have Life Reboot of Team Costa del Soldiers, who are currently sitting in 7th place, but not that many points away. And then finally, in the bottom right, we have Ale Markin of Team Quake and Brack.
Yeah, and already we're seeing a lot of route divergence. These people know that it's not going to be easy to just go to Garland right away and get a kill. So you're going to go look for resources. You're going to look for maybe a Bane Sword, maybe a Zeus Gauntlet or something like that. It's also worth noting that in these seeds, elite caster gear and weapons are in the shop, so you can buy things like ribbons, like opal armors, good swords like defense. Vorpal's going to be great in this kind of flag set. So you're going to see our runners compulsively checking defense, weapon, and shops while they're out here. We also would like to just throw it to our trackers who don't exist tonight because we're not tracking anything. These seasons move way too fast. We're not going to be tracking anything, so chat, help us stay on top of it. We are... so crown, there's the crown glitch, 155 gold there in Crescent Lake. That is really nice. Early game gil or gold in this flag set can be a real problem, and so having the incentive item be both cheap and be crown, because we have vanilla turn-ins, we're going to get crown, crystal, herb, key in a row, and then that leads you to Canary Lock. That gives you a number of checks, and it gives you the key lock stuff plus Canary Lock, which incentivizes and a huge XP boost. So that's like a best case scenario there. Very crown.
Yeah, 20% per key item. And I also want to highlight on DVS's side, we saw a Thor Hamel for sale in the Crescent Lake shop, which is really, really important as well. If they don't find anything else, that's going to be a really big benefit here. DVS deviating quite a bit, something I haven't really seen much, but he's going to check all the shops really fast here. He's clearly looking for something. Meanwhile, our other runners trying to check some free chests, Volcano and Ale Mark inside, Cheeseinator, just kind of checking some more shops while Life Reboot decides to do cardio first.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Mass Immune is incentivized, as is the Power Gauntlet, but I forget which shop it was at, but I saw Vorpal plus 4. That's a real nice gift. That might be, depending on, since there is one loose, we don't know for a fact if we're going to get the Mass Immune or not. And so right now, I'm definitely eyeballing that Vorpal +4 is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Vorpal +4, going to be very, very good. Now, something of note, these alt final bosses, they tend to be weak to non-elemental AoEs, and I have not yet seen Fade, and that is going to be a little bit challenging, because without Fade, it's going to be very difficult without multiple casts of Fade. And if we're going to force these parties up to, the high 20s, the low 30s, that's going to take them a little bit longer. Now, of course, we're at LoL EXP, and that's not uncommon at all for these 50 to 200% scaling flags, but just something of note, Fade, the key item here, alongside, of course, Cheesinator, as his teammate pointing out. Cheesinator has found the Mage Staff, and that's also really, really nice for, fire damage, which could potentially be used against the Undead Party Pack, for example.
Yeah. Zippy Zip saying, I'm new to the Final Fantasy world, maybe this is why I'm not understanding a single thing. Don't worry, we barely understand these flags too. You are not alone.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or want something described, just ask us a question in chat and we'll make sure that we get right back to you.
Yeah, Chaos Rush is an extremely chaotic flag set. That's part of the fun and the stress of it. This requires people to think on their feet in very unusual ways. And for me, this is a real struggle for me, these kind of flag sets, because I like a little bit of a slower paced flag. But there's some people who really excel at this, and this is a good week for them to potentially bring their team up a spot. Knock some other teams down. We've got a couple spots, I think, settled probably in our league, but the vast majority of spots are up for grabs, especially places 2, 3, and 4 going into the cut next week.
Yeah, 2's relatively safe, but not necessary, and 3 and 4, and 3 to 6 are all just super, super close right now. Yeah. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out. I also want to note that it looks like there was some Zeus Gauntlet, I believe, for sale in Canaria, so that's another nice casting item. So for those of you who are a little bit less familiar, the Zeus Gauntlet is important because it will cast Lit 2, or Lightning 2, which is something that's going to allow them to have a sweeper. The Mage Staff casts Fire 2, and the Thor Hammer also casts Lightning 2. And just having these spells available for a party that has no early magic is really, really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see Demon Frog in there saying overworld grind is possible with a quick encounter off of reset. I think that's something we'll probably see if we have a good... I didn't get a chance to see how good the reset was, but, because every single encounter is randomized, you could come off the reset in Crescent Lake and get, something just real heinous or something really good. So I think, maximizing that encounter off the reset is really good. Now, I think one sort of interesting question, chat, is do you prioritize in any way a 2-man versus a 3-man party? And what are you thinking for this kind of seed?
So, see, it's interesting. Against a regular Chaos, I would 100% be prioritizing a 2-man party, because you don't really need more than one person who can kill Chaos. However, because of the prevalence of larger party packs, or larger groups for the final boss, whether that's the Double Dragon, which is 2 enemies you need to punch, 2 Liches, 2 War Mechs, or Chaos and 8 Garlands where you need to find that Chaos, having a second melee option is actually quite good. So I would generally be leaning towards getting everyone up, unless I saw a really early Fade, which of course we haven't seen yet. So I would be leaning towards a 3-person grind unless we find Fade at level 5 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think what we're going to have to see from our winners is, do they bother going to 42 or do they stick at 2 Black Belts 32? I think you're probably safe going to 32 in these flags.
Yeah, I agree.
But, I mean, 42, if you can find a really good grind tile, if there's an easily accessible third eye grind tile, this is definitely an option to go to 42 on at least one of those Black Belts. But again, it depends.
I would be checking probably, so Bert, I know Bert is an overgrinder. He's saying 42, 32, 42, or thereabouts. I would probably be going to 32 across the board and then taking a look, because it's going to, depending on what's in there, it could mean vastly different requirements of what you need, because sometimes it's levels, sometimes it's just I need to try 3 times, and sometimes trying 3 times takes just as long as getting levels. So depending on what's in there is really going to dictate what my levels are. So I would probably feel comfortable with my first attempt at 32, 32, 32 or so, and then do it again once, and then do it again if needed. Or sometimes you just one-shot it, and then great, you score in the early 20s.
Yeah. Saw Life 2 there, Elfland, level 3 white magic. Great in some seeds. Honestly, not a huge consideration in these. Exit, Cure 4, and Invis 2, however, at Elfland 4 are much better. You're probably going to find a white shirt in the shop, so the Invis 2 is less of a necessity. But the Cure 4 at 4 is a reasonably nice treat. There's a black shirt on sale for about 11,000. Heal helmet +4.
Yeah, it's not surprising with the number of shops that you're going to find something good for sale in the various shops. So although we're highlighting it because it's super important to find and definitely a key part of the strategy of this, it's kind of like, you're trying to evaluate what your tool set is when you're looking at these weapon shops, these armor shops, the spells, and then your party as well as the grind tiles. Those are all kind of tools in your toolbox. And then you're just evaluating, seeing what combination of them is going to work best to finish the seed as quickly as possible. And some people are going to go for more information early, like that's what kind of DVS has been doing, versus others will go for a little bit less information early and will just try and get on the best path as they learn throughout the seed. They're going to be doing something while getting information. And that generally is a little bit faster, but sometimes if there's a really good grind somewhere and they spent 5 minutes grinding on the less ideal grind, that can cost them. So there's trade-offs in both strategies.
Yeah, I'd like to point out Galaxy Brain here on Galaxy Brain Play on Cheesenator's sign. He has checked. There are 2 different areas around Elfland Castle. On the south, he found a Soria grind. On the north, he found a Cerberus grind. He took the Soria a couple of times, but I think that's a really savvy move, not just doing the encounter off of the reset. Again, because all encounters are shuffled, you can get some really, really interesting encounters in totally random places, but knowing where those regions change, like where those zones change, like even knowing outside of Crescent Lake, you can reset, take immediate left, and you've got one encounter, you can reset, go down into the water, and you've got another. Being able to maximize those resources is going to be an important.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight for that strategy, if it's something that you want to try in a seed, the 2 ones to know are Elfland and Crescent Lake. They both have 4 encounter zones around them. They're basically at the corner, not quite, of 4 different squares. So if you can picture that in your mind, those are 2 places where you can check. Usually in Crescent Lake, you're looking for peds. In Elfland, maybe you want creeps or something like that, just for a few levels, or in this case, of course, you can get anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be kind of interesting to see what grinds all of our runners settle on, if we kind of see them go for the same thing, or if they take diverging paths. Because again, because there are so many possible options, because of the encounter reset grind, completely different approaches, and they could all be totally valid.
Yeah, this is a seed where it's definitely there will be grind. I mean, in all of these Chaos Rush flags, there's usually almost always a grind, because the encounter rate is just so low, and you have no idea what you're getting. But these ones with 2 black belts and a white mage and no fade, there will be a grind, no question about it. It's just a matter of which one. With the current equipment we have available, I would be looking ideally for something to start the grind. Maybe if the Gur sharks roll down, or of course if you can find eyes, also something undead would be okay. For getting a few levels, like checking a zombie, if you can find zombie Ds or Vamps Wiz Vamps, those are probably like the top tier grinds if they rolled down. Something to get started though can really be anything, like the Sarias the Cheesenator found are going to be great. Not Sahags, but maybe something along those lines. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled.
Sometimes the Hags, I think it can be a real barrier to go from like 0 to 10, and whereas I think getting to 10 and up, you can usually find something consistent in these flags. But especially with something like this where you really don't have too much in terms of AoE damage, I think, sometimes you just gotta pick what comes to you. And we see an Iron Gall down there on Aelmarkin's screen. I'm curious to see if that is a spike tile or if that is a random encounter. It could be either.
Yeah, it's unlikely this Iron Gall is going to be a good grind with no non-elemental AoEs and no punches, but it's definitely something to keep in your back pocket, as that is worth a ton of EXP. So we do have a question in chat about the format, so I'll just quickly go over what's happening. So we do have 10 teams of 4 players each. There's 4 races each week, which means that each team member will race once. There are 4 weeks of the regular season with 4 different flag sets. So that means every single runner on each team will race those 4 flag sets, and then you get points in a Mario Kart style. So basically, if you come first, you're going to get 15 points for your team, all the ways to 1 point for coming 10th. The numbers you see beside the people's names are their team's placement. So not their individual placement, but their team placement. Their team's placement. And the top 4 are going to make playoffs. So if you have anything else, that hopefully clarifies what's going on here. So yeah, you came in at an exciting time.
Yeah, Handsome Exodus has another interesting question. So who is in first place on the stream at the moment from the Forerunners? Normally, that would be a difficult question to answer in the best of circumstances. It is all but impossible to answer right now. These flags move extremely fast. Like I said, we're going to be looking at finishes anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes probably. A little bit higher if the seed is particularly gross. But because things move so quickly, it's basically impossible to say. We might have a clearer picture as we get higher levels and get better items, but it's going to be anyone's game. I don't expect just a massive amount of difference in the times for these seeds for people.
Yeah, I would say the one person who has a really good feeling for this seed, and like it's just because he's also a good player in general, is Cheesenator in the top left. He's already found some way to do a grind, but DVS doing very similar. You know, he's already level 17. So the runners who are able to find a grind in unconventional ways, if there's not one given for free, are runners who are doing well right now. And I would say that the top two runners right now have that kind of advantage right now, versus the other two runners haven't yet found a good way to get some EXP. That being said, Aoe has found
has a very good one.
Whiz Fams. Oh wow, okay, so yeah, so all three of our runners, with the exception of Life Reboot right now, are on a grind of some sort, and it looks like that a Whiz Vamp grind is just amazing with Harm 4.
Yeah, and that's again off the hard reset right in front of Earth Cave. Really, really great find. There are probably a lot of runners who are never going to check that, and it is great to know.
Oh man, yeah, that is actually the best.
It looks like they rolled reasonably low. Reasonably low. Words are hard. I'll be surprised if we find a better grind tile than that, especially when they're already giving 12,000 to his 2-man party.
Especially with Harm 4 and Mage Staff. Like, those are the perfect tools for taking this grind early.
Yeah, another consideration, if you can't get Fade, Harm 3, Harm 4, totally viable alternatives.
Yeah, Harm 4 has the same damage numbers as Fade, slightly lower hit, so it is strictly worse, but it's more than good enough to get through
it's better
most
than
undead packs. Yeah. Man, I commentary cursed myself so bad there, just being like, oh yeah, these top two runners have found the grind, and meanwhile Ailmarkin in the bottom right, just with like the perfect grind.
Yeah, and I think that's part of these seeds too, is sometimes you just gotta pick one, there's just not enough time to look around a lot. You kind of just have to find good enough and go for it sometimes, I think. I also think this seed, or these kind of seeds place a real premium on saving often, because you can't have any kind of encounter in the overworld. So, question about the flag set, is it loot and key for go? It is go mode. It is just go mode from the start. Loot is given to you. Key is not needed because it is a shortened Topher, which is a specific flag set that we have. You're going to start in the north side of a room. You're going to go down, and you can either go left and fight 2 random fiends, or go right and fight 2 random fiends, and then you'll go fight chaos. So yeah, it is go mode from the start. Literally, the only thing these runners need to do is get their parties to a point where they can kill chaos by leveling and by getting equipment. So this is, it is Chaos Rush. It is, go mode from the start, pure sense.
I wanted to point out something very interesting. We have 3 divergent strategies in terms of grinds, not only in terms of tiles, but also in terms of who they're keeping up. Cheesenator has gone with a 1-person black belt grind to 42. DVS has gone for a 2 black belt grind with no white mage. And Ailmarkin has gone with a black belt white mage grind, as well as Life Reboot in the bottom left. So 3 totally different strategies in terms of how they want to approach the end game here. They're going to be better against different alt bosses. But I would not be. I think Cheesenator is going to dive Topher right now.
Good lord! I mean, like sub 20 is the dream on these kinds of seeds. It is possible but difficult. Man, that defense +5 is going to be so helpful. Just being able to slot that on both black belts.
I mean, he's got defense +5. He's got a defense. He's got a ribbon on his white mage. He's got a 42 black belt. That seems something that you can try. Yeah, Ganon's Gone Wild, though, is right. Like, double Warmech's not going to be ideal. Chaos and 8 Garlands is actually not very good either, because you can't clear the Garlands that easily.
Right, I think you're undead, let your white mage Harm 4 it down.
I think double
dragon.
dragons.
Yeah.
Double dragons, I think, is what he wants. Yep, here we go, Cheesenator entering Topher at the 16-minute mark.
I'm tired already, Jack.
I know. How do we keep track of this much information for 3 seeds? And also they're going to start blending together. Oh man, okay, get the T out. Get something stronger than T out. We got this.
Alright, so Cheesenator's going to pull carry first. We're going to see Swirl right off the bat. 620 it looks like coming out, 94, and Viz 2 coming out from the White Mage. So that carry is going to live a little bit longer. Scaling at 200% is not bad, but 200% is still a decently beefy roll. Gonna get a nice big punch out. It looks like nothing doing, or was that? Okay, there's the punch. 1,019 damage is absolutely going to be enough to take down carry no matter what at 200%. And Cheese is going to find out what fiend he gets next. And it's, oh, that was the second fiend. I missed the first one.
Yeah, Kraken had no HP.
Kraken, okay. And we are already on to Chaos at the 17.5-minute mark. And it is going to be, whoa, gosh, no, what do we call, you say it, what do we call this? I can't remember.
Whack a Chaos.
Thank you.
So one of these 9 Garlands is indeed Chaos, because you know what? Chaos was Garland all along. But we have to find him, and he changes positions every turn, so it's really, really hard to make sure that your, 1,000 damage black belt punch is going to the right place with all these Garlands out there. So it's usually the best strategy is to spend a turn using AoE damage to take them out, but of course Mage Staff's not the best thing in the world for taking them out. So,
I think the only plus side here is you want to spend a turn or two, putting defense on your black belts anyways, so you're not missing much by just having your mage kind of take down those Garlands so that you know where to hit. But yeah, it's still a frustrating way to do it, especially like this when you have one left and you kind of hope. I think he's found Chaos though. As Davis pulls Kraken and takes Kraken down too, and move on to carry. Not about a minute behind Azonator, really came out of nowhere as Aomarkin hops into Temple of Fiends as well.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fairly quick flank set, it looks like. These runners did a really good job of finding those early magic items and using these black belts to their full effect by finding excellent grind tiles right away. Yeah, Burt Reynolds pointed out in chat, this can also be super nasty if Chaos, the people who are with Chaos, whether it's the Phantoms and the Undead Party Pack, or if it's Garland here, have a spell. That can be just absolute disaster.
Yeah, this Chaos rolled high too. Cheese is punching plenty fine. It's going to be over any second now. And sure enough, there is Cheese done with the first seed at 19 minutes as Davis heads up to take on Chaos himself. Aomarkin went left and is taking on Tiamat. Going to head and I believe take on... that was the second one, so Lich first, then Tiamat. Aomarkin about 2 minutes behind Cheese, going to take on Chaos now. Extremely strong start to get down about the 19-minute mark on your first seed. Really, really well done.
Yeah, so 3 runners all like very, very neck and neck at this point. And I do want to point out that Cheeseinator does have to wait for a minute here, so he's not wasting time. We've given across the board 1 minute between seeds, so that way people who have computers have faster loading times or things like that don't get an advantage just by being able to make their computer run a little bit faster or by download more RAM. So we want to make sure that everyone has an even starting field. So Cheeseinator is just going to wait a minute from his starting time. He has a live split tracker that's able to keep track of that, and he will be going exactly as soon as he can. So rest assured, there are all the other runners are going to be doing the same thing. And there we go, Cheeseinator off on the second seed.
Let's see what we got. Okay, a nice AoE weapon right at the start. Again, you only start with 400 gold. I think I saw opal or gold there plus a ribbon. Gonna be there's the level 1 fade plus heal 3. We get nuke and temper and luck 2 level 1. This is gonna be another extremely fast seed. I don't think you bother promoting at any point to get that nuke on that thief, but really nice to have it there. The fighter is gonna be plenty well equipped just by what's in the shop. But yeah, this feels an awful lot like a free seed.
Yeah, this looks like a 15-minute seed. Because wow, nuke, temper, lock. Your black mage is basically set. You need levels. That's it. You need nothing else. Maybe a few key items, and then you're just going for levels.
Good question from RCT Mid in chat. What is AoE? We use a lot of terminology in this. Feel free to ask us in chat. AoE stands for Area of Effect. It means it is a multiple target as opposed to a single target spell.
Yeah, and usually you need that, so the larger the pack is, the better AoE spells become, just generally speaking. So, when there's 9 Garlands, having an AoE effect is quite good, versus when there's just 1 Chaos, single target damage reigns supreme. But looks like Aomarkin actually finished off Garland and friends before DVS did. I guess he was able to whack-a-mole a little bit faster, but DVS should be there in no time here. Just needs a couple more punches. This was a very beefy Chaos, though. And it looks like his White Mage, because his White Mage didn't have any levels, he got nuclear down and hasn't been able to heal, and that's been a big problem. Oh, Chaos had Cure 4 as well. Yeah, that's just nasty.
Unfortunate.
This is just kind of a sign, though, of that like two-person strat. Just the two-person the DVS selected did not pay off as well because of that early nuclear. So his white mage got punched down. Versus the one person for Cheesinator, he was just able to blow through chaos before he even got Cure 4 off.
Yeah, it looks like one of his black belts just got paralyzed too, or stunned. Yeah, that's gonna be a reset. That's tough.
Yeah,
he got real close, but yeah, I think that's Oof.
DVS knows.
Started on his seed as well. Gonna find that free seed, nuke Temporal Lock 2 in the first black mage spot. Now, interesting. Cheesinator is going to promote. It looks like. I think he already found Tail, and he's going to promote. He wants that second nuke.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. The Thief not necessarily going to be doing very much. The Ninja going to be able to swing a lot harder and also cast Nuke, which is just so important against most of the alt final bosses. 2 nukes turn 1 is usually the best play against 3/4 of the alt final bosses.
Yeah.
So...
Man, Jay, I'm not going to lie. I'm really glad that we go on Thursday because I'm going to get several nights of watching other people do this much better than me.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I like
just writing down notes as I go.
I like religiously watch Wappy's stream on Sunday, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to steal half the strats, talk to my team about the other half, and then that becomes the Thursday strats. So yeah, being later in the week, definitely nice if you're not a theory crafter.
And I think that's part of the fun of the fall league too. You know, it's you get to bring people with you in a lot of respects. You know, I know for our team we've had a lot of fun working with Rubes and Chad, with me and Caleb. I think, you know, we all have our strengths, all have our weaknesses, and the information sharing, the cheering each other on, it is great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like all of the teammates come out, they cheer on each other during the races, and then they talk about them afterwards, saying, you know what, here's what I learned, here's what I thought went well. This person on the other team did something, but I was watching, I got this information, and then my other teammate can use it later in the week. So, you know, all this stuff is just kind of why teams are fun. I mean, I really enjoyed the co-op league as well, where it was teams of 2, because once again, you and your partner could theory craft and work on your strengths and weaknesses. But this is kind of a different game because you can't support each other on the field, but you absolutely can support them off the field. And that's fun in many ways as well.
2 notable things: the lower half of our screen, Life Reboot just about to make Topher dive, I believe, as Dave is still working on his. Aelmarkin found loose adamant in Volcano, funnily enough. There is one loose in the seed. It is extremely rare that you find it because you're opening so few chests as it is. Cheesinator finds a blue D grind right off of the reset, it looks like. He's looking for something. I'm not sure what. Maybe he was just running encounters there? I'm not really sure what he was doing.
I think he was checking. I think they were ambushing him, and I think he was checking if he could get a non-ambushed turn. But they kept ambushing him, so he realized that the ambush rate was too high, and he's going to look for a different grind. And yeah, Burt Reynolds is correct, because Fetch Quest turn-ins are not randomized, the Adamant is just straight up the Excal when you find it. So the Adamant is quote-unquote loose, but it's always going to turn into the Excal.
Right.
I think it does still count as a key item, though, so it's still worth 20%
I thought it counted
EXP.
as a key item, but would happy to be corrected on that.
Yeah, I think it still counts as a key item for EXP. It just doesn't count as a key item in terms of it being able to give you whatever useless item. I guess the Masa. I guess technically it could have turned into something better than the Exhale if it turned into the Masa, but
yeah,
that's about it. Okay, looks like DVS is done. Yeah, okay, DVS finished at the 25-minute mark, so about 6 minutes behind. And he's going to be waiting for his minute while he gets the second seed ready to roll. Meanwhile, Cheesinator is rolling through the seed, getting some initial levels here, but hasn't found the grind tile quite yet. He did a couple quick checks to see if there's anything that he wanted and couldn't find it in his normal hard reset locations. So we'll have to see where he decides to grind and with what party comp he decides to grind with. I think I would be taking the Ninja to either exactly 15, 17, or 19, depending on how many nuke casts I want, and otherwise 2-person if I can. Mm-hmm. But we'll have to see what Cheesinator decides to do. Meanwhile, Aelmarkin holding his hand in Provoke. Of course, he hasn't checked as many locations as Cheesinator has, but Aelmarkin making very quick work of the seed as well. Ooh, that's a nice tile that Cheesinator has found in the top left. I think this is one of the 2 locations outside of Provoca.
Yeah, you're hoping for it anyways. This is if they roll. Oh, they didn't look like they rolled too high.
Yeah, they're kind of hard to tell, but 2 nukes will do the job here.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides he wants that a few more times, but no, looks like he's heading away. He's like, you know what, 2 nukes is too slow. I would like something else first. Or I want to get a few more key items first so I can get my EXP boost up. 5 key items, of course, being literally double the XP you're getting, so something to consider.
Yeah, double the already sizable amount. And there's Crown, which is great. Again, Crown is vanilla turn-in, so you're going to be getting Crystal and then a Herb, and then Key off of that. Key leads you to the Canaria Lock Incentive location. So really nice, really nice.
Wanted to point out in the bottom left here, Life Reboot is taking on Whack-A-Mole. So hopefully he finds that chaos quickly enough here, but also going with those kind of AoE strats, initially getting the defense up on his high-level black belt and trying to go to town. That nuclear rolls quite low actually on most party members who matter, so that's a good start for him, but hopefully he takes out a few more of these garlands here.
Alright, it looks like Cheese has gotten a nuke and temper on his ninja there, as Aelmarkin goes to get the X-Cal from the dwarves. I think it's not a bad idea. Throw, if you get the Mouse Bean, throw it on the Thief. Put the X-Cal on the Knight.
I mean, the sooner you can stop opening chests, or not even chests, but the sooner you can stop looking for locations and just look for a grind, the better. And if the X-Cal is good enough, which I didn't see what it rolled, but if it's rolled high enough, then the X-Cal is great. Even if it rolled 0, it's probably still fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Cheesinator coming back to that Agama grind, he just was going around for a couple more key items, and he's going to take this grind.
Yeah, I think that's smart. But yeah, I think it's funny, it's easy to get caught up thinking of like, oh, with Alt Final Boss, like how high, do I have to get my levels? And I think realistically, you don't have to get all that high.
No.
I just 200%. You just gotta go in like mid to high 20s. Different if you're going black belt, but like you don't have to grind that much with the sheer amount of.
Yeah, I just realized that in this seed, they have Fade Nuke available every turn. So this looks like I would be seriously debating going in fairly low, like early 20s, just to see if I can Fade and Nuke my way through everything. Now, the bigger concern might actually be the Fiends before the Alt Final Boss, but Fade Nuke for 2 or 3 turns takes down basically all the Alt Final Bosses except for maybe Double Dragon and maybe Warmech and Friends if Warmech rolled 200% HP.
Yeah, and Cheese is very happy with this Agama tile. Aelmarkin seems to have found a zombie bull tile over there. Zombie troll, I think, is what I saw, which is fine. It's not going to be quite as good as what we've got up in the upper left, but it's certainly a start. Life Reboot down to just Chaos on their screen. One black belt is down, but that's going to be... Oh, I thought that was kill. Doing a lot of damage. Got to be getting there soon. Fight, wait.
Oh yeah, I guess just to clarify, so Dark Moon is doing our restreaming tonight, so thank you very much, Dark Moon. But yeah, to clarify on the early 20s being low, I meant more in comparison to last seed where we're like, oh, 32 or 42, what level do we want to go to? It makes a big difference here, the fact that we have fighters and so much AoE, non-elemental AoE compared to the last seed where the black belt strategy is get my black belt to 32 or 42 and just win with my black belt who needs to cast spells.
And Life Reboot takes down Chaos and is on to seed number 2.
Once again, taking a quick minute break. If you're just joining us and you're trying to figure out what is this chaos, well, indeed it is chaos. This is Chaos Rush. We're doing 3 seeds. You are in go mode from the moment you press start. You need levels, you need a little bit of gear, and you just need enough to get through the seed. But unlike most seeds, these are so quick, we're doing 3 of them in a row. So Life Reboot in the bottom left is our last runner on stream to finish the first seed. And all the runners right now are on the second of 3 seeds. So Cheesinator was the first person to finish the first one, quickly followed by AL, and then DVS followed not too far behind. So all these runners on seed 2, Force Party, 5 times the EXP, 20% item scaling. You're in for a crazy time. If you have any questions, let us know in chat.
All right, and Life Reboot is off. Going to find out real quickly just how free this seed is, as we have Aelmarkin completing that fetch quest. Going to get the crystal to the herb to the key, and then we'll see if he decides to check the key for the Master Mune. I don't think we've seen any of our other runners. There's the TNT as well, so the TNT and Adamant have been found in this seed.
The TNT, of course, just being, I guess, because is the canal even free?
No, canal's technically not free.
So it is.
Start with bridge and airship.
Yeah, so that TNT is just the canal. Boo, but it is 20% bonus EXP, so can't complain too much.
All right, yeah, I think we're probably about to see Cheese go for...
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. I think 3 non-elemental AoEs, you just go. Just say, you know what, I'm just gonna do magic. Maybe buff the Knight if needed, but you have tempers available, but I think nuke fade for the alt final boss will be the plan. That's not what you want to see. Try again.
Yeah, good question by Ganon's Gone Wild. Does he have a weapon? I'm not sure what weapon he settled on for the fighter. He had a few options. Settled on Vorpal, but I can't remember for sure what he took.
And he decided weapons aren't important. We're just going to try and nuke and fade our way through. Oh, no, that was a swing. Oh, I think that's an X-Cal, it looks like. So I think he turned in his adamant as well.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it was an easily checkable location there in Volcano. You're already checking the spike tiles there anyway, so makes plenty of sense.
So he knows that the last boss over here on the top left is either going to be Lich or Kraken, and I can assure you he's hoping it's one of those two. So something that is a legitimate thing to do, and I do it all the time, is when you check these Fiend tiles, you can just leave if you're not happy with the one you get first. So sometimes if I get Kraken or Tia first, I'll just leave. Or maybe I'll fight Kraken for a couple, see if he has no HP, and then I'll reset out. Because it's really not that long with Short Topher to get back in. Oh, Demon Frog pointing out, thank you very much. It was a Sun Sword +2.
Awesome, thank you guys. Alright, Life Reboot has killed the Garland, gotten the tail and the canoe from Princess Sarah and the King.
So Chisenera continues to nuke. Looks like he's going with nuke strats with his knight at the top, mostly just going for defensive strats. So going with a defense sword at the top, just to, or well, ruse, literal ruse in this case, with ruses just to keep someone alive so he can tank a few hits, and then meanwhile relying on the nukes to get Kraken down there. Against Chaos, I believe he has one cast of nuke left on his ninja, I think. And then he will have many on his Black Mage. So we'll see if he decides to go with Defense Sword first turn or Fade first turn on his Knight. I think with this, it's going to be Defense Sword.
Okay. Now, one thing we also haven't talked about is that you have to be kind of careful when you run the seed. In Short Topher, after that second Fiend, if you happen to go one tile left or right instead of going down, depending on which side you were on, you will have to come back and fight the second Fiend over again. I did that in practice earlier today. It is a horrible feeling.
Ooh, this is...
Fortunately, I've not seen it yet.
Oh, this is not a nice double dragon. So they have Nuclear as their first spell and skill, and then followed by Tornado.
And it doesn't even wait to see what damage it does. That is, get out, grind up some more, because this turned from what was a very quick seed into we're going to have to grind this a lot higher to get the defense up.
Yeah, at this point, they just need HP. They need enough HP to be able to survive Nuclear Tornado. So it looks like, for those of you who may be a little bit newer to the game, the Fiends have everyone actually has two different sets of, I'll call them spells, but it's going to be confusing in a second. They have two different things they can do alongside Punch. They have spells and skills. So it looks like the first spell, which generally is between 25 and 50% chance of happening for carry 2 there, was Nuke. And the first skill for Tiamat there was Nuclear. So of course it's not going to be Nuclear first turn every single time, but that is a really, really nasty combination. Those are the two arguably scariest spells to see in terms of damage dealing from the Fiends in the late game, and the fact that they have them back to back means that they're on doing minimum around 300 damage and maximum up to 500 or 600 damage on turn 1. So just absolute bad news, no way to resist it except for getting more HP.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how high Cheese ends up going. 32 might be a good stopping point to try it again. I mean, I think mentally that's a good break, but I'll be kind of curious to see what he ends up doing.
I think I'd be looking at health numbers. So once my fighter gets above around 600 HP, I would debate just going in and just trying, instead of trying to grind, just trying to bang my head against it a few times. Because all you need is just, like, for example, carry to have no HP and maybe turn on her. Or maybe they just don't cast Nuke first turn or second turn, and that could be huge too. I did want to point out though, Demon Frog, who is, being our pseudo tracker here in chat, pointing out that we have a Masa +5 in Canaria locked, and killing them before they kill you is a very legitimate strategy. Especially,
I don't think we saw fast at a low level, but obviously plenty of temper charges to get that up.
I think they've only checked 2 shops. Like, I think Cheeseater checked Provoca and Canaria.
So it is.
So yeah, so he's at level 30, but he's gonna probably be taking a look at that HP number. soon, and then we'll have to see what he goes. I think 32 probably makes sense, but we'll have to see if he decides to go higher.
Gasty's over there. I think that was off of a reset.
Yeah, Gasties can have just too much HP though. That's the big problem with them. They're worth a ton of EXP, but their HP can be nasty as well. And it looks like they do have a skill list.
Aelmarkin solo grinding that fighter on the Zombol tile that he found in Earth in the Hall of Giants earlier. Trying to get as much as possible off that. He's swinging the massive +5, so I mean he's gonna kill them every time. It's nearly 16,000 XP. Looks like he is done. Here comes the danger though.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this
danger of dying, danger of just wasting time. Okay, he does get to run though. He's high enough level. You know, the encounter rate is low. It's not 0, but it's low at about 0.3 in dungeons and 0.2 in the overworld, I believe. And so yeah, it's easy to get caught by something really nasty when you're least expecting it.
Yeah, it's 0.2 in dungeons and 0.3 in the overworld, but yeah. Yeah, see, little does he know, but Aelmarkin's single high-level character is going to do better against the non-elemental AoEs of the enemies than the
here too.
across-the-board grind. So Aelmarkin in good shape here with that Masa +5 as well as a high-level Knight.
Yeah, he is one-shotting these fighters for 12,000 XP. That was a great switch up.
Let's see how high he goes, but he could very easily debate going to the 40s here.
Yeah, I think he might hit 42 and just call it a day.
Does he know? He doesn't know, right? He's just doing this because he's like, you know what,
yeah, he has not been there yet, but I think he's just guessing, like, listen, one of these guys is going to be gross. Might as well, you know, do this now. Good lord, was that 28,000? I mean, just like the amount of XP that you see in these seeds is so absurd. Cheesenator heading back in, gonna take the same route, head off to Tiamat to start. Or no, not the same route. He went left last time, so he's gonna see Tiamat Lich this time. I think he's hoping that Tiamat is maybe a little bit lighter than he originally, or maybe just that you know he'll save time too.
Yeah, I think he just thinks I'll one-shot Lich, so even if Tiamat's a little bit of a pain, it'll be faster still. Looks like Ael's just saying, I'm going to take this to 50 because I can.
Oh.
I don't blame him. It's like an extra minute. Yep, there's 50 on his Knight.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to say that that's going to pay off pretty nicely.
Yeah, we might well see him pass Cheese here, depending on how this goes.
Luffy, yeah, my spelling is the most wrong. I won't speak between yours and Demon Frogs.
Listen, you all tried. You all tried. I mean, in what is it? It's Canaria here in NES version. It's Cornelia in PSP. That's always my trouble. I do the PSP speedrun as well, and so I call things like Elfheim or Cornelia. I always get the names wrong and stuff like that. DVS really sticking to that gas D grind. However much health they have, he seems to think that it's worth it.
Now, I mean, this is basically getting close to overfilling the EXP bar with 5 times scaling. Luckily, 5 times scaling means that they need less EXP, doesn't get more. So that will be a good across-the-party grind, but unfortunately that is not the best thing for this nuclear double dragon fight.
Yeah, Cheese taking time, I think, to consider his options here.
Yeah, either that or his stream's frozen. I've never seen... Oh, he was.
That was just thinking. That's thinking time, and I do not blame him. It is scary fate staring down the barrel of Nuke and Nuclear right off start. Ice 2, though, is going to take care of the Black Mage. He's going to get one more temper off of that Ninja, and then it's going to be all up to the Knight as the Ninja goes down. Yeah, I think... Okay, so down goes Carry 2 with a swing of 615, not so bad. I think he's probably going to be fine here. I mean, I don't want commentators curse it like we did so much yesterday, but...
Yeah. I actually have a secondary reason why I think Cheesenator went right that time. I think he wanted to figure out what Tiamat had. So he went right, so that way he knew what Tiamat and Carry both had in their spell list and skill list. Wow, this Knight down to 6 HP, gets turn order terminated!
Wow.
That was totally on you, Groggy Dog, if Cheesenator went down there.
I know, it would have been. I would have accepted whatever punishment came my way. That was so clutch, though. I mean, just absolutely massive, especially with Aomarkin coming into Topher now. If he had died there, Aomarkin almost certainly killing Garland now. I haven't even realized he hadn't killed Garland earlier. That was huge, though. Absolutely clutch moment by Cheesinator as he takes down Kraken, Tiamat 2.
The double dragons, yes. Tiamat 2 there. That looked like Tiamat had nuclear, tornado, nuclear, and maybe nuclear again. That Tiamat is just an absolute piece of work, and you have to hope that he punches or casts spells because his skill list is terrible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have to see. Keep your eyes peeled on the bottom right side of your screen here, because Aomarkin is about to go take on this Temple of Fiends Revisited.
All right, and Cheesinator off from the 3rd seed. Let's take a look at what we're going to get today in the weapons shop. We've got nothing, a whole lot of nothing. In the armor shop, I saw opal helmet, gold bracelet, I think.
I saw Zeus as well, which is important. Fade locked. That's a little bit unfortunate, but Fast is available for his red white mage.
Man, we got Fade level 1 in both seeds except the white mage seed.
That's how it goes, you know.
Yeah. That's Chaos Rush. He's gonna throw that Saber 4 on the fighter, I think, just to Saber -4, just to try and take out Chaos. If I had the, or not Chaos, Garland here in the early runnings. You know, whatever you can do, I think makes plenty of sense. So let's see if he goes for it here. But Fast and Saber -4, this should be plenty to get Garland levels. He is gonna check the King first, though. Maybe waiting to see if he can get like cube. So he's gonna get the XP boost. It's not a whole lot for Garland. But maybe he was hoping that it was going to be Powerful Punk. He's going to actually forget Garland and go straight for Matoya, it looks like. Make a few chest checks, maybe for some money, and then make his way over to, I'm going to guess, Cardia.
Okay, Aomarkin onto the double dragons in the bottom right here. Keep your eyes peeled to see what the enemies do. So, okay, he does get that first turn nuke, but he did get enough turn order so that his black mage got off. And his black mage survives on 1 HP. He gets off a lock and a temper. That is huge value for that very low level black mage.
Yeah,
wow.
It goes down to 1 swing too. That was huge.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Two hits, 2 kills. And that's why you grind to 50. So yeah, he's about 1.5 minutes behind, or about 2 minutes behind Cheesinator, and it could have been even worse. So Shamel asks, what is the deal with this race? Let's recap, because we are now on Seed 3. Welcome to Chaos Rush Week. Everybody, is Week 4 of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Fall League. We are going hard tonight. Chaos Rush means that you do not have to do anything to get to Chaos. You have everything provided for you, all 4 orbs lit. It is shortened Temple of Fiends. You're about to see on DVS's screen in the upper right. You will have to fight 2 random fiends, potentially of your choosing, and then go down to Chaos. So this is all about getting levels, getting armor, because we have good armor and weapons all over the place in shops, and figuring out magic, and then taking on an alt final boss. There are 4 of them. We've seen 2 of them so far. We'll see if we get a 3rd or if we get a repeat. But this is the epitome of go mode Final Fantasy. We are on Cheesinator in the upper left, and Aomarkin in the lower right are on the 3rd seed. Life Reboot in the lower left, DVS in the upper right are both on seed 2.
And both of them entering the Temple of Fiends Revisited, it looks like. Oh, no, it looks like Life Reboot's just checking for... he doesn't quite have the levels yet, but DVS about to be rudely met. I think DVS, he has a chance, but he needs some turn order, and he needs some luck on this double dragon, because he's kind of in a similar situation of where Cheesinator was on his first dive. He's a little bit higher level, but yeah, oof. Cheesinator making the play here to check these chests for free to get some money. I like it. These are like 6 free chests that are even closer to the Cardi Isles. Of course, you need exit to be able to do that.
He does though, so that's a great play. You have to know your resources and have to kind of know the tricky ways. That's like the advanced version of the Ice Cave Wharf trick, right? Like you kind of take what you can get, and I mean that's a lot of money for the very early game. It can be really hard to come by money in the early game of this, because sometimes, depending on what you get in terms of sweepers, you may not have a really good way to take care of that. Luffy asking Warp would work on that too, right? Absolutely.
Real question though, how does exit go forward 2,000 years?
Magic.
Magic. Yeah.
That's how. That Bane Sword +3 gonna come in real in handy as an early game sweeper. Obviously not gonna rely on it too much down the end, but for something like Pirates, yeah, you bet. Davis taking on our Double Dragon. The ninja went down pretty quickly. Black Mage survived at least one. Not gonna survive that second nuclear though, and the knight is on. Oh, Cure 4 comes out from Carry just to rub it in his face. We might see a reset here before he even dies, but I don't see him getting out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, he is at max evade. He just needs these fiends to do nothing but punch. But unfortunately, they do not do nothing but punch. Yeah, okay, so it's nuclear tornado. Yeah, that Tia is just a nasty piece of work.
Seeds are gross, man.
DVS decided, oh, he's really displeased. He's decided that he wanted to bonk into the river a little bit to show his displeasure. But he is going to go grind a little bit more on these Gasties.
Yeah. Makes sense. See here. Getting a canoe from Provoca. Sure, why not? Don't need it at all, but we'll take it. Again, it's that plus 20% experience. That's what you're taking it for right now. See a Wizard Staff over there in Crescent Lake on Cheesenator's screen. And let's see what he's going to get from the Crescent Lake Sages. Obviously, those Crescent Lake Sages, they are, they along with Sarda, are hugely important in seeds like this. 2 free items, a free 40% increase to your experience gain. Massive checks.
Absolutely. Yeah, getting those items, it's funny when you're getting items just for EXP, but that is definitely the case here. Cheesenator are just not even bothering to revive his ninja, or his thief, kind of shows how much value he puts on it.
Yeah.
And I think it makes... Ooh, there's another +5. Wow.
Yeah. And he didn't get it last seed, so he's going to be real happy to see that this seed.
Can we just turn, like... You know, when we race this, Groggy, we're never going to see a Masa +5. I hope we realize that.
-5 for sure.
Somehow
at this point.
And somehow the floater's still going to be in Sky, and we're not even going to know.
Somehow, yeah, absolutely. Cheesenator going to take on Astos. I missed what Astos gave him there. Oh wait, we know what Astos gave him there because it's Vanilla Turn in. He gave him the Crystal. Crystal's going to turn into the Herb. Herb's going to turn into the Key. Key opens up the incentivized Canaria lock chest to give him one more item. He may check that. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, he has what he
has the Masa. There's he's got enough EXP already, and he has the Masa. I don't think the turn-in is a big deal, unless he wants to promote. I don't know if he's seen the tail. Because it is not free, and that is the one item that he could actually want to get. Just because having the ninja being able to cast fast turn 1, so his red mage can do something else, might be beneficial.
Notably, Amarkin right behind him and getting that Mass Immune +5. He's going to go turn in the crown right now, too. I have to mention. Oh no, he's going to go check those Earth Cave Spike Tiles. I think everyone kind of has their favorite grind spot, right? I mean, Amarkin's been hanging out a lot in Earth so far tonight.
Yeah.
Cheese, meanwhile, has... And that's a real good grind tile to find an Earth, too. Gonna hope for some decent spells in the Red Mage to take advantage of it, but that is a good thing to know.
Yeah, Cheese, meanwhile, has mostly been prioritizing just overworld grind tiles. He's like, I don't need spike tiles. I'm just going to continuously, whenever I land my boat, or my ship, I'm going to walk around for a little bit, check it, and if it's nothing there, I'm going to keep going. And he says, you know what, I can check more different, unique grind locations that way than I can if I run around all over checking spike tiles.
I think it's smart, and it shows a really deep knowledge of the game. We did see on Ailmarkin's screen there that Earth Cave has become Zombie Dragon Cave, so he had both a Zombie Dragon tile and a Whizvamp Zombie Dragon tile. That's not a bad place. He's already at level... So 10, 11 it looks like on his. That's not a bad place to be. I think that's where you start to get real traction in terms of being able to throw out spells and get levels. So he's in a good place too. I think it could. There's a viable slab there. Real crapshoot as to whether or not you turn it in. Unless you're looking for something very specific, I think you just kind of ignore it. You see White Spirit Ribbon +2 there in Melmond. Was that? No, that's Elf. But again, plus 20% experience once you buy it.
Yeah, it's a viable plus 20% experience. And you know what? That's pretty good. The thing is, with the fetch quest turn-ins being vanilla, if you don't get on that chain, you're not going to get more key items from your key items. And because of that, you don't usually need to turn in that slab for anything. You don't really care about getting, maybe the tail is the biggest thing or the power bonk, but like in general, you don't care that much about getting, a bottle or anything like that. The rod is like so irrelevant.
Yeah, as is the ship. Yeah, and probably got what he wanted from that was just the power. The only other incentivized item that's been added to the pool alongside the Mass Immune. Great to throw on the fighter or knight, depending on whatever you end with. And he's going to go ahead and start checking some spike tiles, I think, as he heads into the Northwest Castle. He's already killed Astos and has the key, so we got 2 tiles in here plus a couple chests to check. See what's good.
Meanwhile, DVS happy with his levels. Gonna be going on to try and take on this Chaos again, or the Double Dragon, the ult final boss. Now that he has a lot more levels, that is a very healthy knight with over 700 HP.
Yeah, absolutely. Life Reboot going in to do the same. So we could see 2 runners finish here. Davis obviously had a pretty big lead on Life Reboot coming to this. So Life Reboot also has a knight at 706. It shows just how quickly these seeds can change. If you make a couple less than ideal decisions, or just like something goes wrong for you, it can give your opponents a lot of room to catch up, and that that really adds to that like high stress atmosphere for these. But it also makes it a lot of fun when you're not the one racing it, because you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, as DVS's teammate, I can give him a bit of a hard time. I think the issue for DVS in terms of where he lost time is just that you see those Gasties and you're like, wow, these are worth so much EXP, but the problem is that they were actually so slow to kill that he just lost time on the grind in comparison to doing something that you can basically one nuke down. Even if they're worth, half as much EXP, you're still getting more EXP per minute. Yeah. So I think that's what cost him, as well as a wipe, which I don't think was really his fault. Like, the wipe just happened.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. Even with 200%, sometimes something can catch you off guard. 200% is still 200%.
Yeah, I mean, nuke.
They're happy to take out.
Nuke nuclear is pretty much the definition of catch you off guard.
Yeah. Sees a phantom tile on Earth. Cheese does and gets the heck out of there. That is useless. Like that's a big beginner mistake a lot of times. He is gonna find the zombie detail there. Phantoms always feel like they should give you a lot of experience, but they don't. So don't fight them. Demon Frog saying Aoe finding the fighters in Seed 2 was massive. He got big fast. Yeah, absolutely. It was great to watch him adapt, because he never found that really good Agma tile that Cheese had, but still made a lot out of it anyways, especially with that solo fighter grind. He blazed to 50. It was so interesting. But yeah, I think we are currently setting up for an extremely close finish here between Cheese and Aoe Markin.
So DVS did just finish the 2nd seed, and meanwhile Life Reboot about to take on Chaos. So, these runners, they are not going to give these top 2 runners on stream right now much room to breathe, because it is going quick. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely. Can't stop, won't stop. This is... Man, welcome to Chaos Rush Week, y'all.
Yeah. And just to give a quick shout out, my name is Jad, and I'm joined here in the booth by Groggy Dog, if you've been listening for a while and didn't know which was which. And right now we have our restreamer tonight is Dark Moon, who's here in chat somewhere, but I know he's also having dinner, so shoutouts to Dark Moon. Thanks for having us on RPG Limit Break, as we get to showcase some fantastic Chaos Rush Final Fantasy Randomizer action. Yeah, I agree, Rubes. I think Cheese definitely does have a couple minutes on Aoe. I mean, he's kind of had a couple minutes from the beginning of the seed, but also now he's got to grind, he's got kind of things figured out. But that all being said, anything can happen, and Alt Final Boss is the great equalizer.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly, both Forerunners going for the Marsh lock check. We didn't really talk about it because we didn't see it in either of the first seeds. But along with Canary Locked, Marsh is also incentivized. It is not particularly fun to go down there, especially at the kind of early levels you might traditionally go there in a regular seed, because the encounters could be just about anything. You really run the risk of something just like off coming your way. Now, Lobster, Sea Snake, not too bad. He's gonna find the bottle, which is maybe you check it, probably don't. It'll be interesting to see if he feels like this is a waste of time or not. Meanwhile, Life Reboot back into Topher again.
I think he wanted to do this for a secondary reason, which was also just to check for grind tiles.
Yeah.
I believe there's 3 distinct grind tiles in Marsh Bottom. So, he was just trying to see if you can get something different down here. And I think there might be 4 even. Someone in chat will correct me who knows the game better. I do not go into Marsh ever, and because I never go into Marsh, I don't know how many grind tiles are down there. Meanwhile, Cheesinator on to Alt Final Boss, or onto Temple of Fiends Revisit already.
Good lord. Absurd if he finishes this in one go. just like unthinkable how that he's putting.
Yeah, 3 20-minute seeds.
Yeah.
Oh, with a minute delay too. So
Yeah.
that's 3 sub 20-minute seeds
yeah,
on
sub 20.
average.
Takes down first fiend like it's nothing. Gonna move on to second one. Brings the ninja back up. Red Wizard and Knight. So you're gonna do a little bit of defensive. Tiamat comes out with the quad X. Yeah, you're happy to see that. Don't worry too much. White shirt coming out from the ninja up there. It thought momentarily about Brax strats, I think, but decided better. 687 coming out, Cure 4 coming out. Honestly, probably better to see it right now than to see it on one of the final bosses. He's
yeah, absolutely.
As he is swinging, trying to get through that defense. 1890 out of Tiamat, and down goes that ninja that had nothing coming, and then a nuke too. So we are seeing a good number of things coming out. Knight takes care of it though. They are weak. He's gonna want to heal up ASAP. Got life 2 and then heal pots, and not many heal pots. He only has about 30 left, and that's one of the dangers going into something like this without a white mage. Obviously, it's not a choice. But oh, and life reboot almost had that final boss down to just Tiamat 2, but down goes the Knight. That is so tough to see. But he's gonna push back and go through it anyways.
Wow, Cheesenator counted how many heal pots he knew he would need and got away with two remaining. That ninja doing some serious work for him at the top of, or that thief doing some serious work, taking punches with his 30 health. And we do have Warmech and friends. This is not the best fight for what Cheesenator has here. He was hoping for something like the Double Dragons or something like that, and Warmechs have poison, damage poison. That's not the end of the world with those ribbons. Evil Men not doing much though, and that is really, really lucky. One Invis 2 cast goes out, and those Evil Men are just punching for missing. And that's really, really good news. This Warmech and Friends pack can be really nasty if the Evil Men are scary. If they're not, this is a very doable fight, and he is getting time to get his defenses up, surprisingly.
Yeah, this should have, I feel like, been a lot worse, but it's been a little bit kind to him. The Bane's not going to have any effect, fingers crossed, through the ribbon, although it's still not, totally out of the question. 2 questions in chat I want to address. Magus 1X, you're allowed to name and create party during the wait. Yes, 1 minute mandated wait between seeds 1 and 2, and 2 and 3. Is each boss randomized? Kind of. There are 4 alt final bosses. We've seen 3 of them tonight. You see 2 of them on screen right now, so it's not totally randomized, but which of the 4 are in there at the end is random. And we see some more Banes coming out from the Warmech. Those Warmechs are really not too bad. One goes down with 1,159. Poison comes out from, I missed it, was the Warmech takes down the Red Mage. Going to be this tank against the world. Just absolutely terrifying. As those Evil Men start putting on fast, probably to no avail. Gonna go for another hit. Warmech swings and misses. Warmech Banes, sorry. The Evil Men still swinging and missing. Very fortunate for Cheese to have gotten that Invis 2 cast off and have it be so effective. Down to 132 health, it looks like. Life Reboot notably did get a kill on the Double Dragon. Moving on to Seed 3, good for Life Reboot. Down goes the second Warmech, and we're going to see Cheesenator do his absolute best to try and pick off these last 5 Evil Men before the fighter goes down. Improbably, I think he might do it. This is horrifying to watch. Oh, down to 73 health. It is going to be really, really close. This is an extremely intense way to finish off Chaos Rush. Down goes the third one with 1,700 damage. Down goes the fourth one. He is swinging so hard, only 15 health left. Oh my goodness, 1 health since he's down. Down goes the fifth. There's 1. It's just the fighter versus the Evil Man, and he's done with a, wow, just over an hour. Cheesenator has absolutely demolished the first night of Chaos Rush. Get those GGs out in chat, because you just witnessed some absurd play. GG to Cheesenator.
Yeah, so coming in
1 hour 37 minutes, or 1 hour 0 minutes 37 seconds, and clearly a first place finish.
Yeah, first place on stream and first place overall out of the 10 runners. Congratulations to Cheesenator. Wow, that alt final boss was the worst case scenario in terms of which one it could have been, but it was the best case in that those Evil Men did absolutely nothing, and that was really, really, really lucky. He got great turnover order, getting Invis 2 off first turn. So that way they started missing, and then he just went through with just high enough level Knight, and the Masa +5 making a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we are gonna, here in just a minute, try and get Cheese in the booth with us.
And here we go. We are joined in the booth by our first place overall runner, Cheesinator. GG, Cheesinator.
GG, thank you very much.
Holy smokes. Were you holding your breath there at the end?
Yes, I was. I was very, very fraught, like nerve-wracked as it finished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were just commenting though, like one heck of a performance there. Just absolutely demolishing Chaos Rust, giving us all a lesson, as all of us later weekers say, you know, people who race later in the week, giving us someone to watch so we can steal strategies from. Is there anything that you wanted to quickly touch on from those seeds? There was definitely like a bunch of like very, very, very close calls throughout that seed.
Yeah, so I guess across the seeds, I was hoping for a Thief melee only party at some point, just because that's kind of the most difficult and it helps to separate the pack a little bit. But we ended up with 2 comps that had both a fighter and a black caster, so those were straightforward as far as the game plan. And then black belt also, anytime you have a black belt, you just get it to 42 and then hope that you don't run into like the Warmech pack.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of had a plan, and we've seen most of our runners on stream have a plan for each of the seeds, and I think that's kind of the approach, right? You have to know with each party comp what am I going to do, and then for each alt final boss, you know, what am I hoping for, and what do I do when I see them? Were there any of the alt final bosses where you were like, oh man, not this one, or were there any that you were like, oh, this is exactly the one that I wanted?
It was going to be fine with Double Dragon in the second seed, but hold up,
Yep.
I knew that the carry had nuke. I didn't know about the Tiamat having nuclear and tornado and all this other stuff, because I hadn't fought long enough on the right side yet to see those. And when I wiped to that, I was like, I just don't have enough HP. There's no way. I need to go grind. Came back, and then I actually deliberately went right because I wanted to see how much HP Tiamat had to see if nuke would have been a viable strategy for both of them, but Tiamat's HP was too high.
Yeah, actually, so when you that's interesting that you say that. When you were making that play, that was actually my guess on commentary, was that you decided to go right not because you thought it was easier, but because you wanted to know what Tiamat had, just so that way you can make a better decision making in the arguably the most difficult fight of that bit, which was that double dragon, surprisingly.
But that was another one where I had like no HP left at the end, so clearly got exactly the right number of levels in seeds 2 and 3.
Yeah, I want to say you had like 18 HP, and then in the top right, actually, DVS on screen had 1 HP on a like level 20 something black mage. He survived like an ice 2 and a nuke with 1 HP and managed to get off like 2 rounds of black magic spells, and that made the difference for DVS in his second fight. So yeah, like lots of very, very low HP characters surviving in this flag set so far. We will turn our attention quickly to the bottom right here as Aoe Markin on the 3rd seed onto Warmech and Friends. Now, these Warmech and Friends, what I found for your fight was that first turn in Viz 2 was absolutely huge because it meant the Evilman rarely did anything. I haven't seen what's happened for Aoe Markin, but he is still surviving across everything here, and his Knight's got lots of HP, and he's gotten that in Viz 2 off, so things are looking relatively good. Now, Warmech had Bane and Poison twice in a row? Was that his skill list? I couldn't. Cheese?
There's 1 poison, 1 bane. I think it's short lists possibly for both. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, so those are kind of what we saw out there. The Bane, if he has his ribbons, shouldn't be too much of a concern. The Poison will slowly chip him down. But as long as these evil men just keep missing, Aoe Markin in pretty good shape here.
Yeah, he's in a little bit better shape, it looks like, because he got some HP on his Thief, and if my Thief could have maybe survived, like, you know, up damage poison or something, there's a chance I get an extra invisibility stack off.
Yeah, your Thief had 30 HP. I don't think he had survived a fight from the very beginning of the game, if I remember correctly, so he did take a 1700 damage punch, though, from Tiamat. That was good of him.
Also, I just remembered, so I saw on Aoe's screen here one of the Warmechs cast Fast on one of the evil men. I think it was the bottom, there was one on my screen that had Fast on. I should have targeted it first, because that was more likely to kill me than all the rest of the evil men.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good point.
It's so hard to keep that much information in your head, though, right? Like, especially when this is your third of 3 seeds and you are just like hanging on by a rope. So, I think in an ideal world you have enough mental space to do that, but I think it's a tough ask at the end of 3 difficult seeds like this.
It is good to note, though, that you can't see who's attacking. So, like, for example, in the Whack-A-Mole pack, you can't figure out which one Chaos is. However, you can see when spells are cast on people. So, you know, Cheesinator is right here in that you can point out which which evil man had fast cast and target him down with your +5 Masa. Yep, so Aoe Markin on the path here. Slowly but surely his Mage Staff has been doing work, and that Thief just continuing to stay alive. So those bad men all going down more or less at the same time as that Mage Staff has a very small damage window just because the damage window is so low. And this, 1 or 2 more punches, and Aoe Markin should be through here.
And sure enough, there it is. GG's to Aoe Markin for completing the 3rd seed with a time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, 3 seconds. Good for 2nd place on stream, 2nd place overall. Well done, Aoe Markin. The usual terror of Thursday nights has now come to terrorize Sunday nights as well. Well run 4 weeks of races so far. GG's to Aoe Markin.
Yeah, 2nd consecutive 2nd place finish for Aoe, so GG's.
Yeah, 1-1-2-2, I think is what he had across the 4 weeks, which is just incredible.
We will see if he will join us in the booth here.
Life Reboot and Davis, meanwhile, high-fiving there outside Elfland as Life Reboot goes to turn in the herb. And I think TVS is just stocking up on some spells for potentially making a run at Topher. Okay, Life Reboot taking the airship, gonna head up to Provoca, I think, to stock up a little bit. We are joined in the booth by our good friend Aoe Markin. GG, Aoe Markin on a really strong 2nd place performance.
Hey, thanks, Groggy. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, migrated nights. Welcome to Sundays.
Yeah, we were saying, thank goodness, you know, we get to dodge you this week, but you still come 2nd on the Sunday as well, so, you know, terrorizing somewhere else for once. Any kind of first thoughts as you hop in the booth here on, you know, how those 3 seeds went?
I think this is the first time I've actually done 3 back-to-back-to-back, just because every time I try to sit down and practice them during the week, I'd always get interrupted between either toddlers or schoolwork or something else going on in the home. So it was, I think, a lot more daunting than I initially thought going in, just trying to keep track of what's where in each seed.
Absolutely.
I think you probably saw me forget to kill Garland in the 2nd one, and I'm sure that's just like, I'm sitting there like, oh, I already killed him, I'm great. And I walked in there, I'm like, why is Garland still? Oh, crap.
Oh, yeah, we didn't realize you forgot to kill Garland. We just thought you were like, I have a Masa +5. Who needs to kill Garland? But, yeah. Oh, yeah, Cheesinator. That's something that, I mean, you didn't miss basically anything in this flag set with your blazing fast time, but you did get the Masa +5 like Aoe did in the 2nd seed, and he was actually able to one-shot Topher. I think he was the only runner on stream who was able to one-shot Topher in that 2nd seed, because the nuclear wasn't too much of a problem for his level 50 knight with a Masa +5.
Yeah, I didn't get myself into a grind situation that I could have had a fighter that high, and also was that in Marsh Cave? Like, I don't know where that Maza was.
Keylocked, I think. Canaria keylocked?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
locked, and then Aoe found a really great fighter grind tile.
Okay.
In Northwest Castle. And so that was a really savvy move to dan everybody else and then take that solo fight up. It was quick. Aoe, that was a really efficient grind.
Yeah, I was kind of stuck at the start because all I saw was the Zombles, and I'm like, well, I can at least fire 2 and nuke them down, but this isn't really the cutter for solo. And when I first saw the fighters, I couldn't even hit them with the Masa 5 or the Sun or whatever I had at the time. So I was like, let me just come back to this a little bit later. And it worked out once the other 2 guys died off, so.
Yeah, there was contrasting grinding strategies between our 1st and 2nd place runners, you and Cheese. Cheesinator was basically something that I've been doing a little bit in my practice runs, which I guess we could share now because Cheesinator showed it to the world, is just like grinding in... When you land, you get an encounter. That's kind of what Cheesinator was doing. And if there's in a multiple encounter zone, he was checking multiple, so he was mostly looking at overworld encounters, while you were like doing the more traditional spike tile checks, so like really putting a heavy prioritization on Earth Cave, for example.
Yeah, I did that during the 1st seed because there was the whiz vamps right outside of Earth Cave. So that kind of worked out for me really nicely, just kind of lucked into that. But for the second and third seed, the run was kind of long, so I felt I'd be better suited just taking the spike tile fight than doing like the 20-ish, 30-ish steps before the first fight at all.
Mhm.
So,
We were a little worried. I think it was perhaps in the third seed when you, not in terms of you dying, but just in terms of a massive time waste when you ran into double giants and like a bunch of imps or Gurimps on the way out of Earth. That was kind of funny.
I was like, please run, and he got it out both times. So I was like, all right, that worked out.
Yeah. If they had something like slow or something, I think we would have just been laughing while you waited for like 2 minutes, lost 2 minutes in a 20-minute seed just on Gurimps after a grind. Ugh. So let's turn our attention back over to our runners. Both DVS and Life Reboot are on the third seed here, hot on the heels of our already finishing runners. Looks like DVS just starting kind of his grind now, while Life Reboot trying to get a few more key items while he can.
Yeah, and I think now he's just going to go check for the Northwest Castle spike tiles and see what's in these chests. He just finished up that crown turn-in. He's going to find a giant tile. Not so great. Going to have to wait that one out. Nope, just decides to reset and say no thank you. All right, and DVS sticking with that Zombie D Whiz Vamp tile. Very nice one there that I think Is Aoe will start off on as well. Gonna find Cerberus on that other tile there in Northwest Castle, though. Doing plenty of damage there. I think I saw 722 damage. It's a lot to be hitting with, but that's what Mouse Moon 5 gets you. All right, the Cerberus Wiz Ogre tile. I'm kind of curious if he's going to stick with this for a bit just to get some intermediary levels. I think this is certainly not an ideal tile to be grinding on. But again, with such high XP scaling, even something like this gets you 4,000 XP. Yeah, so he's just going to take it to those middle levels and then going to use this as a leverage point to potentially catapult himself forward a little bit and have more options going forward. Meanwhile, DVS mid-20s over there in the upper right-hand corner doing pretty well. Got plenty of houses and items left to kind of continue this grind. We'll see how high he decides to go before tackling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing with these, like the levels in the early game can actually speed up your later game grind just by giving you more nukes, giving you less need to like house up, leave, things like that. So once again, though, DVS prioritizing a slower but very high EXP grind, and this will definitely do the trick. Because as you said, this was the hall of Zombie Ds, right? It was like Zombie D something and Zombie D's Whiz Vamps right beside each other.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna see Life Reboot. I think I want to pick up those level 3 spells now. We're gonna find Lit 3 for the for the red mage on the black magic side. As Davis exits out, is gonna save and head right back in to continue that grind.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see how high he goes. He may be a little bit spooked from the previous seed. I don't know what levels were the two of you when you finished, Cheeseinator and Ale in the third seed.
What was that about the third seed?
What levels were you?
I want to say I was 27 when I finished on the Zombie Ds, and then I got one level on the way to the final fights of 28.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So yeah, DVS hitting that now, but we'll have to see if he goes higher. Now, it's funny because, you know, when you get that super nasty nuclear double dragon, it can kind of warp your perspective about how high you need to be.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see how high he goes. Because, Ale, you were around the same, you said?
I was actually, the thief was only like level 20 by the time I got to the final fight, but my fighter and red mage were mid-30s.
Okay. Well, I think, yeah, Cheeseinator, your thief was level 1 or 2.
It was 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Cheese, I did have to step out a little bit when you first got here in the booth afterwards. Did you guys talk much about your choice to rely a little bit more on the off-reset grinds?
I mean, you know, I can't obviously say too much, right? But now that it's been on Restream, everyone might cop my strategy. If there are overworld grinds, you gotta check them.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, especially because they're quick to check too.
Yeah.
All right, playing it a little close to the chest. I like that still. We saw a lot of it in action tonight. You know, we were talking earlier about the different zones outside of places like Provoca, outside of like Elfland, or even Crescent Lake. You know, but I think he showed a real masterful execution of that, and just like being so quick to incorporate it into the rest of your run. So kudos on that for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting how knowing information from the vanilla games or the vanilla speedruns can translate to knowing information in these, in like, you know, classic flags or in Chaos Rush. Not so much Free Enterprise, but like all these skills, they're transferable, but they mean very different things in different flag sets. So something very interesting, and just kind of proof that there is definitely a lot of skill in a randomizer like this, and a lot of knowledge, especially in this one. There's just so much knowledge that gets accumulated and leads to incremental edges that end up leading to 10 minutes of time save. Meanwhile, DVS is going to attempt the Temple of Fiends Revisited here in the top right at the 17-minute mark or so. He's got pretty good levels here. It looks like he's quite a bit higher than either of you were in terms of total party levels. So we'll have to see what happens here. I think the key is getting off an early Invis 2 on the Evilmen so they don't do anything, and then just, you know, hoping that Warmac doesn't punch super hard all of a sudden.
Yeah, and Carrot 2 goes down quick. I'm kind of curious. I didn't see what weapons he had on his party. His Thief is swinging away too. I'm not sure if he found a good katana or if he's thrown the Masamune on the Thief and is running something.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look when... I don't know if he's going to menu to it anytime soon, but...
If it's that last seed, I think there was an Ice 5 sword in Elfland, so it looks like that's might have been swinging there.
Yeah, Thunder coming out from Tiamat. Not going to do too much, though. He's going to take that one right to the face and have plenty of health left, though. Yeah, Rojo saying Thief had the Masa. That makes plenty of sense. It always feels a little weird to me, certainly, to throw, you know, this beautiful Masamune on somebody other than the fighter who you want to swing hard anyways, but I think that's a great use of resources when you have so limited, you know, in these forced three-man sets where you don't get to pick who your party is.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an Ice +5 and a Masa, or you have a Masa and nothing, choosing that approach definitely makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, I'm going to make quick work of that Tiamat 2 as well. I'm going to turn the corner, talk to Chaos 1, 2, and then 3 times to find out that he's facing friends. Staring him down the barrel at 1 hour, 18 minutes, 59 seconds.
So this is an interesting... Okay, so he's going with defense, Ruse, Lit 3, and defense sword, I believe. So it makes sense, trying to get his evasion up a little bit different than the Invis 2 strats we were seeing, but this will do the trick similarly. The one issue is that the Knight's not spending time punching, so he's going to be a little bit slower to clear things out. However, Lit 3 will be faster than the Mage 2 stick that Aoe was using, so the Evil Men will go down quite a bit quicker.
Yeah, Warmac throwing out Ice 2 there. Those Evil Men definitely still have plenty of HP, though. They've survived 2 Lit 3 attacks. They're going to take at least a third one to come down, if not a fourth, depending on how they roll. Another Ice 2 comes out from Warmac. Still decent health all the way around. Starting to get to the point of being a little bit worried, but as we saw, with just a little bit of evasion, you really help yourself out. Bane coming out from Warmac, going to pass over all 3 fast going out. Bane coming out again, gonna pass right over again. It helps really a lot to be able to buy ribbons from shops. Things like that become a lot less of an issue. Fighter swinging for 182 damage, not quite what you want to see up to this point, but it's certainly a start.
Yeah, this fight's relatively safe. There's nothing that seems to just like nuke you down super fast. It's just a little bit of a slow fight because there's so many turns of just Lit 3, Lit 3, Lit 3, Lit 3, poison, 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 Bane, Bane, Bane. So it's just a bit of a slower fight, and I guess it does a lot of psychological damage, but not a lot of physical damage. And that's the nice thing about it. This fight can be quite nasty. Like, I've seen this fight where the Evil Men have nuke.
Yeah, oh, and down goes the Thief to that Bane, presumably through a ribbon, I think.
Ooh, and that's one of the worst things, actually, that DVS doesn't really realize, but the fact that he kills all the Evil Men means that Warmac are fasting each other, rather than fasting one of the Evil Men, so that's a little bit unfortunate. He's down to just a single Warmac, though, and it's taken quite a few hits of Lit 3, so this fight is looking relatively... I mean, it's going to go terribly. DVS has 0 chance. There's no way this is going to finish.
We're not allowed to say anything hopeful anymore after yesterday.
No, but DVS is on pace here unless Warmech pulls something completely out of nowhere that we haven't seen on anyone else's screen. This is looking like a finish for DVS. Just a little bit of a slow ending to it.
Yeah, and plenty of Lock 2 charges are going to go around. Going to throw a Saber, I think, there on the Red Mage, see what he can get out of that as well. I like it. Just, got no other resources. It looks like 186 damage. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing huge in terms of that Ice 5 sword coming out for damage on the Warmech. 125 damage. It's almost chip level, but it should be plenty. He tries to exit out of the fight accidentally, not going to happen.
No, yeah, not the worst time to misclick to menu, or
yeah.
not the worst time to miss menu to exit, but just continue to doing it.
The Red Mage, 271 left on that Knight. It's going to be a one-on-one showdown. Robot Chicken versus Knight as Nuclear comes out. Low rolls, though. Wow. Just about 100 damage fast on the Warmech. He's going to keep hitting, keep swinging. Critical hit for 65. Poison comes out for 55. This is looking just about as close as it was for Cheese. Except with Cheese, it was just a couple evil men to clean up. This is a Warmech versus one Knight. It's a scary place to be in. 90 hits comes out, and that is going to do it. GG's to DVS. Coming in a really strong, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place. GG's DVS 6th place for the time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 56 seconds. We'll see if we can get him in the broadcast here soon. Worth noting, Wappy103 finished in 3rd place with a time of 1:15:37. GG's to Wappy. Chad from the Center for Competitive Forfeiting finished with 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 24 seconds in 4th place. And Cyranus finished in 5th place with 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 47 seconds. So again, GG to DVS, 3rd on stream, 6th overall, 1 hour, 22 minutes, 56 seconds. And that is DVS joining us in chat. GG's.
Dave, thanks guys.
So tell us some initial thoughts. How are you feeling in terms of brain power and mental fatigue coming off that 3rd seed now after 1 hour and 22 minutes?
I'm really disappointed, to be honest. Just like, I figured I was doing better than 6th. So I guess it kind of shows the level of competitiveness here. Because it's always tough when you, what was I going to say? I totally lost my train of thought. But yeah, I mean, it was a good run. I guess it's a little disappointing to get 6, feeling like you're doing really well and feeling like you're making a lot of good progress. I guess I over-leveled a couple times. But this is my first time really doing competitive Chaos Rush, and I can see how potentially being in that tournament last year or having a lot more experience racing this can make a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, as your teammate DVS, I think you ran, as you said, it felt pretty good. It's just these flag sets really, they're so fast, and anything that happens, the only comment that I had during it was that you were picking grinds with really high EXP, but the time per fight was long, so it was worth twice as much EXP, but you were taking 3 or 4 times as long on the fights, and that's kind of where you lost, I think, most of your time compared to the other runners. So that's probably why it felt good, because you were like, oh, I'm getting great EXP. Look at this, 16,000 EXP from these Gasties. But at the same time, Aoe was hitting a fighter literally 6 times in the same amount of time. So that was kind of the largest time loss there. So quickly moving over back onto our on-screen runner here, Life Reboot is taking on Warmech and friends. We shall see if he has similar luck. That not so far similar luck, as that thief is already down, and so is the red wizard or red mage. That's not good. Yeah, so that is not the start you're looking for. I don't know if I would reset out right now, but I'd be pretty close to it, because this is not sustainable.
Yeah, I think it's worth at least watching for a bit to see how many skills you can see, just so you have a clearer picture of what's about to happen to you. Even if you can get a kill on an evil man, just to see, okay, how many lit 3s is it going to take, how many whatever is it going to take, and he resets out there. But yeah, I think that's not a horrible way to get some information. If it's already going bad, just say, you know what, let's just see what I can get of use out of this, because the information can be pretty powerful, like you said.
Yeah.
Knowing whether or not the evil men are totally feckless or if they have nuke is a really important distinction, and can really change how you finish off the grind here.
I completely agree. Having information on these alt final bosses is huge, no doubt about it. So Looks like Life Reboot is going to do a quick reset here, restock, kind of check his levels. Levels are looking okay, might just need a little bit more luck. And we'll have to see if he decides to dive back in or if he's going to go and take another grind.
It looks like he's going to try and go right back in. So this, like we were talking about earlier, sometimes it's worth it to just give it a few checks to see if it was bad luck or, it needs to grind, because you can essentially save a lot of time by not having to grind over and over again. He's going to go in and check. Oh, yeah, I don't think we talked...
oh, yeah.
That Galaxy Brain, kill Sarda, and then go into the past and then return way before you're supposed to. A bunch of easy chest checks there. They gave you the Bane Sword nice and early. That was real heads-up play.
And a bunch of money, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing I sort of gave away. But if you watch the 2019 Chaos Rushes, I don't know if you can maybe find like old YouTube videos or something, but all that stuff was sort of figured out over the course of the tournament. Like, you need to exit or warp if you've got those things to get back to your airship faster, but you can also check the 7 chests. Yeah, lots of little quirks that you notice after you've played triple-digit seeds of this flag set.
Yeah, it's definitely a flag set that rewards... I was talking about how it rewards overall game knowledge, but it also definitely needs specific practice. Very similar to Free Enterprise 2 weeks ago, where you really need to know that particular flag set. You can't just know, classic mode or too loose, because it's definitely a different beast. Life Reboot taking a third shot at this, not having a good time in this Temple of Fiends Revisited here.
We're gonna take down that Fiend again and give another shot at Kraken. I'll be curious to see how many times Life Reboot decides to do this before just kind of saying, this isn't down to luck, this is just down to levels and or equipment. What do I need to do? Decent health across the board, I don't think that is necessarily the issue. So I think leveling, certainly something for him to take into account, but not the overarching priority. I think formulating a strategy for how to deal with the Evilmen and the 2 war mechs is going to be really important.
Yeah, two key notes are, when do you change strategies? When do you change go for gear or spells, and then when do you go for levels? Like in the last seed, the answer to, for example, Cheesinator's question was 100% levels, and the reason why it was levels was because it was nuke nuclear. There's no strategy that gets around nuke nuclear. But on the other hand, when it's people punching you down or something, you can try getting another white shirt and multiple casts of evade turn 1. When it's I need to clear this whole thing, it's just trying again until you get turn order so you can nuke them down. Like there's various different strategic or turn order adjustments that you can make. I'm going to prioritize fast, or I'm going to prioritize lock. And those things are other adjustments that you can make to kind of get through these more difficult fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we see Life Reboot go for this fight again, getting poisoned right off the bat. So we've got our 3 runners in here. I'd like to talk to y'all about 3 seeds in. How does it feel starting off your first seed with 2 black belts and a white mage? Like, what are some of the things immediately going through your head in terms of what you have to prepare for?
Maybe we'll. Oh, go ahead, Cheese. I was gonna say maybe we'll start with one of them. Go ahead, Cheese.
I was just gonna say, you just need to find a way to kill things, right? Like whatever party comp you start with, you need to find something that can clear enemies, even if it's just baby steps and clear Garland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything, AL or DVS, you want to add to that?
I mean, when I'm looking at black belt, white mage, the first thing I'm thinking is, how can I get rid of one of these black belts and just kind of funnel EXP over to the other 2 quicker? And then once I've got him where I kind of want him, I can bring up the last one if I have a way to, and get some HP on him to let him kind of sit in the front and take a hit or 2 for me.
Actually, it was interesting. Oh, go ahead, DVS.
No, I was just gonna say, I hadn't practiced that one before, but my first instinct was find some sort of AoE spell casting item. I think that was the one with the 4 hammers. And it was, do I stick with 2 black belts or 1? I guess I wanted to play it safe this particular seed or this particular week. So I took 2 of them to 32 instead of 1 to 42. So can't say that was the right move, but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was interesting actually on the first seed. Life Reboot just continues to have deep trouble with this Temple of Fiends Revisit. It was interesting to see that there was actually 3 distinct different grinds going on in that first seed. Cheeseinator was 1-manning with a black belt, obviously. Ale and Life Reboot were both 2-manning with a white mage and a black belt, and DVS was 2-manning with two black belts. And I was kind of commenting, like, it's interesting to see all these different strategies, and also like different alt final bosses are going to reward and punish differently depending on what you're looking for, and what the party you do, whether you go to 42-32, whether it's 42 with 1, 42 with 2, etc., etc. So it was kind of interesting to see the different approaches.
Yeah, I think for me, like using that first seed, for example, with the black belts, because that's the only one to have one. When I'm looking at levels to take my black belt to, I'm thinking like worst case scenario for whatever these alt final bosses are. And so for me, it's either a toss up between like Fun Dead or the War Mech and Friends. And so I feel a lot more comfy with a 42 plus black belt, and maybe someone else like maybe there's like 20s to 30s taking hits up front, while the big beefy black belt can just sit in the back row and take shots at everything. So that's kind of why the way I approached that first seed was as far as levels go.
Yeah, and
beef, wasn't that first chaos like a jillion HP? I was attacking forever.
Yeah, it was just about maxed out. Everyone took their sweet time killing the chaos.
Yeah. I do want to point out for people who might not be as familiar with the game, the reason why 32 and 42 are such critical cutoffs is because the way damage works in Final Fantasy Randomizer is that there's certain breakpoints. For black belts work a little bit differently than fighters and everyone else, so we'll just focus on black belts, but there's basically certain level breakpoints where they just get more hits. So the way your damage works is you're doing 2 damage, let's say, then you're doing 3 damage, then you're doing 4 damage if you get 1 more damage per level, but then all of a sudden you double your hits. And then you're doing, so it's 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, 14, and then 28, etc. So the way it works is that you're trying to really hit these critical hit breakpoints. And it's not quite double, it's not quite that, but if you get the rough idea, 32 and 42 are where the black belt gets 2 bonus hits. And those bonus hits lead to a huge increase in damage. So that's why the rough breakpoints for the black belt are going to be 24, then 32, then 42, and then again at 50. So when we're talking about that, the reason for that is because of the way damage works in the initial Final Fantasy. I don't know if the other Final Fantasies work the same way. To be honest, I haven't really played them.
Yeah, I haven't looked into the mechanics of the other ones that deeply. Obviously, this is the only randomizer I play, so it's the only one I kind of had reason to.
Yeah, but very important to understand the mechanics behind that. Non-black belts work slightly differently. Their hit breakpoints depend on the weapon as well as their level, so you need to learn quite a bit more. But the black belt's always nice and simple. 24
back and Topher.
Yeah, 24 is always a little sketchy, but 32, 42 you're usually feeling fairly good. 32, the reason why we speak 42 is that that's kind of the offense is the best defense strategy. 42, it's kill them before they can kill us. So that's why he's doing that. Yeah, and Life Reboot back into Topher for the 3rd or 4th time?
Something, yeah, 4th or 5th, I think. Right at the hour 34-minute mark. Came in with a few more levels and a few more items. Bought a second white shirt, I believe, is making great use of that so far. Is going to make quick work of both Lich 2 and Kraken 2. I'm totally blinking. I'm just like, this is the problem I have running these seeds, is that I just like everything blurs together. As soon as something leaves the screen, it also leaves my mind. But I think in a better place, not overwhelmingly so, but I think A, you've got the knowledge of the times you have failed in the past, and B, you've got a few more levels, a few more items to try and make this work. I'm going to switch up the party a little bit, throw the thief front, tuck to chaos once, twice, 3 times, and throw it in. We've got 3 white shirts coming out, so I think he's going to stack evasion real hard here at the front, knowing that there's not too many spells that he's really going to see. I think this is a good adjustment. Again, this is showing that he paid attention, learned from what went wrong, and is going to try and fix what happened. So those 3 white shirts coming out. Ice 2 coming out. Going to do a little bit of chip damage from those war mechs, but nothing too much of concern. And out comes, let's see here, I think 2 Zeuses and a Bunk to try and Bane coming from the war mech. But yeah, there's the Bunk on the fighter. Another white shirt coming out, so that's 4. And then Bane's sword coming out. Okay, gonna see if this clicks on any of them. I don't think that it's going to. And now Poison coming out from Mormon. Gonna do a little bit more damage. The longer he waits to start chipping some of these guys off, the less HP he's gonna try and finish off the 2 fight.
Yeah, so nice adjustments, as you're saying, and you know, one difference here, and something that's kind of hurting him a little bit, although it's not the end of the world, is the fact that those continuous white shirts weren't making too much of a difference, because as we could see from the other runners, basically 2 invis casts and basically everything that you cared about was already missing. So he was playing it very safe here, but that just gave the Warmechs, unfortunately, a little bit more time to get through to that nuclear in their spell list, or skill list. And these Banes, not going to be super effective. However, it is possible that it gets super lucky and gets through, but realistically here, using something like the Mage Staff might have helped a little bit more if he had it. Now, that being said, this is a strategy that will work. He just needs to start getting some punches. And there we go, going to the Zeus Gauntlet. That's going to do the trick on those evil men, slowly but surely, Ale Market style.
The Ice Cubes continue to kind of chip away. Again, he has plenty of health to deal with it, given that not much else is going to come out. We are going to see a nuclear at some point. The Thor +5 working its way through the Evil Men. They haven't hit that damage threshold yet to take out, but I think they're getting close. Warmech throws a fast on the bottom right. Evilman again to Cheese's point, if you can remember it, kind of keep it in your brain at that point. Want to try and take that one out first if you're swinging. But going to continue. Let's see, your Bane passes over everybody again. Thor coming out. This should get to the point, I believe, where we're going to start seeing some of those Evil Men. No, it looks like we need one more cast of that Thor hammer before those guys start going down. Hitting for 182, so just about at that point where you really want to see the Knight swinging to go ahead, or the Fighter, I guess, swinging to take out the Warmechs. Still needs some more Zeus casts, which has got to be frustrating. It feels like he's already thrown out 4 of those. Try and take down the Evil Men we see on the Warmech. And yeah, okay, there we go. We've finally broken through. One of the 6 Evil Men is down.
Yeah, and that's always a nice sight to see, the first one going down, because you know, with such limited damage variants, that these ones will all be going down very, very soon. And there we go, down to just 1 left. So 1 more Zeus Gauntlet cast, or 2 in this case, and he can start taking down these Warmechs. So for all our runners on stream, a little bit of a slower fight, but one that we're all very happy to get through. Some got by on the very skin of their teeth, but Life Reboot looks like going to be getting through with a little bit more than that, although we do know that that nuclear is still just waiting to come out, so that could be a little bit scary. That Fighter is guaranteed to be safe, but neither of his other party members are. And it looks like he's healing up the Fighter, knowing what his win condition is, to make sure that if that nuclear does come out, that Fighter stays above that threshold. Yeah.
And he'll happily see the Lit 2s and Ice 2s come out all day over the nuclear, because he can take that chip damage every single time. 469 coming out from the Fighter. That is really good damage. He's getting real close to the point where he's going to be able to say goodnight to this final Warmech and finally close out the 3rd seed. 457, and that is a kill on the 2nd Warmech. GG's to Life Reboot. Life Reboot coming in 9th place overall. Some really tough seeds. Great adaptation there at the end to duck back in and change the way he was doing it. And get that final kill on the Warmech. GG's as well to Zenobian, Rob Draven, and Jay Schreidel, who also finished in 7th, 8th, and 10th, respectively. That closes out night 1 of week 4 of Chaos Rush, and it was a doozy. We saw some really incredible performances on stream. GG's again to Life Reboot for really toughing that out. We'll see if we can get him in here to talk about everything that went down here in just a minute. But we're coming up on 2 hours here in this stream. These were some pretty rough Chaos Rush flags. Still saw some incredibly speedy times. But while we're waiting on seeing about Life Reboot, Ale, Cheese, DVS, we've got you in here. Any final thoughts about these seeds, about the seeds coming up, or about anything else with the Fall League tournament? Well, we got you.
I would love to make playoffs. I won't be heartbroken if I don't. Like, this tournament has been very much for fun, I think, more so than for pride, maybe like an individual run tournament. So I've been enjoying the flag sets regardless of the outcomes. I think my team has been mostly enjoying them as well. We had some rough beats last week, but yeah, we're in a position now where we could potentially make playoffs, so I'm excited and hopeful. And regardless, I'm just appreciative of all the work the organizers and broadcast crews have been putting in these past 4 weeks.
Thank you very much. Going over to our second place finisher, AL, do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, I just I like the style of tournaments where it showcases different flags weeks to weeks, because there's not any one particular flag set that everyone's going to shine in. And so when you're doing like a team-based format like this, I think it's nice because you might have 1 or 2 people on your team who are better at like the execution style seeds, where it's just like gotta go fast, gotta get right to the objectives, gotta find all the key items and go. And then you might have other people who make better routing decisions, and maybe shine better in things like entrance floor shuffle, which a number of us will be seeing next week, hopefully. And so I think it's nice that it can showcase all these different flags and showcase everybody's individual ability with each of the flags. And I think it's a learning experience all around, because the more well-rounded you are, the better you are at the game. So
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks very much. Congratulations again. Passing it over to our third place on-stream runner, DVS. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, just kind of echoing the same things. It's cool to have a lot more like different types of flag sets. My style of play definitely does not favor the super fast. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the crazy thing is, I think Cheese Fries and us are tied for 4th, and playoffs is going to be, I'm way too competitive. I wish I could sit here and say like I'm just having fun, but I am having fun. I'm just a little too competitive, and need to relax a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was really well organized.
Yeah, the nice thing now is that you can be competitive, but now it's out of your hands. And that's one of the beauties of team sports, is sometimes you get to play and sometimes you just get to cheer and help your team out, and maybe get in the booth, maybe watch their races, give them a hand, pick them up when they're down, give them a hand when they're ahead. So at this point, it's all on us, and I'm DVS's teammate, so I think we'll have a good time coming out to the these last 3 races, and hopefully us and Team Cheese Fries get to have a good competition to the end to see who makes it in.
And we are joined by Life Reboot GG's. We want to make sure you get some time with the mic. How you feeling about the seeds? How you feeling about the big finish with Warmech and friends?
Hi everyone, GG everyone, and congrats Cheesinator. I feel okay. This is my first tournament where I get to kind of exercise a whole bunch of different flags. Chaos Rush is definitely not my thing, but I think it's because of that alternate final boss flag. Not knowing, when do I stop leveling is really something I struggle with, because I don't know what's sort of waiting for me there. So I have a tendency to over level. I think I went all the way to 40 or 42 on the first seed, and it just ended up being Garland and Friends, which I could have done probably at level 29 or 30 or something.
It's interesting you say that, because like Ale and Cheesinator actually had a similar, and the top 2 finishing runners, they actually did grind fairly high. Like they were both 42 actually at the end of that seed as well. They just prioritized their routing and their levels a little bit differently, but going in with a way to get through 90% of the final bosses seems to be roughly maybe they can speak to it a little bit more, but going in where I can beat most of them on a first try is definitely seemed to be the plan here. But really prioritizing the minimal viable path to get there seemed to be the key to success here.
I see. But
yeah,
do you want to struggled a bit with Warmech and Friends, and I guess what I like, the only thing I really like about the Chaos Rush flags is the fact that everyone is running the same party, so everyone is doing the exact same thing as me, in theory, when it comes to spells.
Yeah, that's definitely a big positive, and something I like in something in even the spring tournament that I really enjoyed once it got to brackets was the draft, to make sure that you don't win or lose at party comp. Of course, you can still win or lose by opening the floater in Sky, but that's an entirely different issue. Yeah, any other kind of initial thoughts before you get on to your final thoughts, Life Reboot?
No, just once again, GG everyone, and thanks very much. It's been great fun. I think that this kind of solidly puts my team out of the running with our scores. We're not going to be able to make the playoffs, which is too bad, but we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, thanks again for racing. And, you know, for me, I just wanted to say thanks again to RPG Limit Break for having us. Thanks for Dark Moon for restreaming, and good job to all the runners giving us a great show today. I'll pass it over to Groggy Dog to finish us off.
Awesome. Thank you again to everyone who stopped by our broadcast booth as well to talk. Folks, we have 3 more nights of this insanity coming up in the next week. Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. We will be playing Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, and Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern in the afternoon. That will be the last race to decide points before we head into the decisive week 5, where we head into a top 4 cut. So definitely join us every night this week that you can. It is going to be fun every single time, I guarantee you. These flag sets are off the wall. So on behalf of Jat and Dark Moon and the whole FFR team, have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you very soon.